What is good, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jason Morrison. Today I want to bring you guys a video regarding the Godox SL60W. It's a light that I recently purchased. A lot of you guys may have heard about it. I am in the full-time filmmaker class. If you guys haven't heard of full-time filmmaker, I'll link them down in the description. They are pretty much where I go to learn anything that has to do with filmmaking, as well as a few other guys, but this is where I learned about where to purchase the Godox SL60W. Now, I'm not somebody who knows like a bunch about lighting. I'm still learning lighting. I'm still going into lighting. I just want to let you guys know ahead of time to let you know that going into this video, I'm not an expert. I'm not going to be somebody who's going to give you all the nitty-gritty details when it comes to lighting. I'm going to give you guys my pros and cons list from somebody who's been using the light for about a month now and who just kind of has his first impressions on the light. And maybe if you're kind of at the same skill levels where I am in terms of learning lighting, then you can maybe take something away from this video in terms of value. But without talking too much, let me jump right into what I consider a pro for the Godox SL60W and what I consider a con. We'll take it from here. So let's get it. One thing I consider a pro for the Godox SL60W is the setup is very, very easy, guys. It comes in a little carrying bag. I'll put it up on the screen for you guys to see. But it comes in a little carrying bag. It comes with your soft box. It comes with a, your light dome or whatever, a honeycomb grid, a few diffusers, obviously the light itself, and I think that's really about it. It doesn't come with the remote. I'll get a little into that. Really helpful that it even comes with a light dome and a soft box with the honeycomb grid, so it gives you a few different options in terms of being able to diffuse the light and use the light kind of the way you want to in that regard. So I think that that's pretty dope. Let's hop into the next one. And I mentioned it briefly just a second ago there, but the option to use it with a remote is pretty cool. I don't think the remote is necessarily needed, as it just has a little dial on the back of the light. I am using the Godox to light this video, so you guys can kind of get a feel for how it looks. Like I said, I'm not the best at lighting, but I think it does what it's intended to do in terms of lighting like a studio setup. Or I think you could even use it to light, like if you're out on a professional shoot, I think it would be useful for that. Not the brightest in the world by any means, but definitely bright enough to get the job done. I would consider that a pro. But like I said, the remote, it pretty much does exactly what you could do on the dial. It has a little dial on the back where you can turn the intensity of the light up, and the remote just makes it easier. That way you're not running back and forth. If the light is maybe a ways away from you, just make it easier to turn that up directly from the remote itself. So like I said, it doesn't come with that, which, it kind of sucks a little bit, but I don't think it's needed. But I think having that option is always good. And once again, I did briefly just bring this up just a second ago. It is pretty bright. Now, I'm not going to say that this is the brightest light in the world. I personally don't have firsthand experience with an aperture 120D or any of the aperture lights, so I can't really speak for how it compares in brightness compared to an aperture light. But for what I'm doing, like this talking head that you guys are seeing right now, it's more than bright enough to light that. Like it does everything I needed to do. I used it to light a few scenes from a previous video, and it did the job for what I was looking to do. You guys could put down in the comments if you guys have the Godox and if it kind of is doing what you guys needed to do in terms of lighting a scene maybe, or lighting a talking head like what I'm doing right now. I really can't see anybody getting this light and being disappointed, especially if you're not super duper into lighting, or maybe if this is going to be your first light. I think this is one of the best lights to go and grab if that's the case that you're in, or the situation that you're in. Most definitely this can be used as a key light. Like I said, not the brightest light in the world compared to like maybe an aperture, but it's more than capable of being a key light. I'm using it as a key light for a lot of the stuff I'm doing. I plan to use it as a key light for a lot of the stuff that I will be doing in the future, in terms of whether it's like a personal YouTube video, or if I'm bringing this out on a shoot with a client, or whatever it is, like whatever situation I'm in. The purpose of me even purchasing this light was to finally start getting into lighting, learn lighting, have something that I can use. It's a reliable key light, and it can take my production up to the next level in terms of my quality and just the things that you can do. I mean, having just one lighting is everything. Obviously, as you guys know, in photography or in videography, filmmaking, or whatever it is, light can change the mood. So just having a light like this, like the Godox, to be able to kind of change the mood and the setting, the vibe of your videos, I think is a big plus. So most definitely, if you are looking to go get the Godox and you want to use it as a key light for your projects or whatever it is, I say go for it, man. Which leads me to the next thing, is that this thing is super affordable. I think I got this for like $200, maybe $250 with shipping or whatever it is, but I got it on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description of this video. But like, this thing is super affordable. If you want to get a light, I think of like near the same quality, don't quote me on this. Like I said, I don't know all the options to a T, but like an aperture 120D is like $1,000 or something crazy. This thing is like 200, so it doesn't even compare. It's like one of the most affordable lights on the market. Definitely go grab one if you guys are looking for some light to start lighting your videos and bring with you on your shoots. Now to get into the cons that I have realized with the Godox SL60W. Now, a lot of videos I watched before I bought the light was talking about the sound that the light gives off, just like in the background. It does give off a light, and maybe I should have put this in the pro section, but it's really not something you're gonna listen to. Like, if you have a computer running in your room, if you are talking like what I'm doing right now, a talking head or whatever it is, you're not even gonna hear the light. It's giving off such minimal sound that it may not be a big deal, but I can realize that some people may be super picky when it comes to the amount of sound it's going to give off or whatever it is. So in that regard, then maybe it'll be a con for you guys. For me, it's not, but I'm putting it in the cons just in case. I don't know what's tolerable for each individual for what the purpose that they're using the light for. So it does give off a slight airy noise, kind of like if you've ever sat next to a computer running. It kind of gives off a sound of ambience like that, but it's really nothing crazy, like nothing that's too deep, nothing that I think is really going to distract you guys for whatever you're doing or be a big deal. But I'll put that in the cons section. Another thing I noticed about the Godox is it gives off a warm kind of hue. Like it's definitely a warmer light. I don't know where it would land in terms of Kelvin, but that's one thing that bothered me personally, is I expected it to be a little more white in terms of the light that it gives off. Maybe a little closer to daylight. I mean, maybe it is. Like I said, I'm no expert on lighting. Put it down in the comments if you know a little better than I do, but I realized that the light was a little warm, and that bothered me personally. So I would consider that a con, just because I think most people would expect the light to be a little closer or a little less warm. So you guys can be the judge of that. For me, it's a con for being a little too warm, but you will have to maybe go into your in-camera settings and just turn your Kelvin down a little bit, maybe make it a little bit cooler, because it does run a little bit warm. So it is what it is. I figured I'd put that in the con section. Another thing that I touched on earlier, which can also be considered a con, I put it in the pro section earlier, but it's also a con as well, is that it doesn't come with the remote. It would have been cool for it to come in the package with the remote, but it doesn't. That's something you have to buy separately. I'm not really sure what the remote goes for. I'm sure you could grab it on Amazon, and I'm sure it's not anything crazy, but it would have been nice for it to come in the package with the remote, just make life a little bit easier. So I'm gonna put that in the con section as well. Like I said, the light may not be as bright for everybody. If you're used to maybe an aperture 120D or a lot of the aperture lights, I don't believe the Godoxes are anywhere close to as bright as those. So if you're going into it, you know, you're used to apertures and you're going into it expecting that level of brightness, it may not fit your needs. So in that regard, consider that a con. If you're maybe more experienced with lighting or you're expecting something brighter, it may not be for you. For me, it's perfect. I don't think I need anything brighter, at least for right now, until I really get my knowledge of lighting up there. But for somebody a little bit more experienced, I can understand why this light may not be for you in terms of how bright it can get. As well as it doesn't let you go below 10% brightness. I can turn this light all the way down and it does get fairly dim, but not as dim as I would have liked. Like it goes only down to 10%. I would have liked it to go all the way down to 1%, or just maybe have the 10% be a little more dim than what it is. It bothers me a little bit. You know, it is what it is. It's not like a very big deal. You could just use like a book lighting setup, or I kind of have a 5-in-1 reflector lighting this side of my face right now, so not a big deal. Like you can use a reflector or just different lighting techniques to make it more dim, but it would have just been nice straight out of the light itself to not be so bright. So and that's with the honeycomb grid on there. You know what I mean? It's still bright with the honeycomb grid when it's down to 10%. So take the honeycomb grid off, it's going to be even more bright than that. So something to consider if you think that the light is going to be able to go down to a certain brightness. You may have to use different lighting setups or use a reflector like what I'm doing to kind of get it down to your needs. And other than that, guys, I think that's really about it. Those are some of the pros, some of the cons I've experienced in like the month and a half I've had Godox SL60W. I think it's a very good quality light, especially for somebody who's getting into lighting or doesn't have key light already. The light is a little heavy. It doesn't come with a stand. That's one thing I'd quickly throw into a con section, is I wish it also came with a light stand to put it on. I had a light that I was using that I bought years ago for like photography or whatever it was, even though I didn't even use it for that purpose at the time, but luckily I had a stand already. But when you put the stand like too high, the light light is a little heavy, especially with the softbox or the light dome on there, so it like starts to droop. Make sure you have a high quality light stand. If you have the Godox SL60W, it does have a little bit of weight to it. But yeah, man, I would recommend this light. Like I said, I'm not an expert on lighting, but from my novice experience over the last month and a half, I've enjoyed it. It's doing what I need to do. I plan to bring it on shoots with me or whatever it is. So I'm gonna put it down in the description, like I said. Put it down in the comments what your thoughts are on the Godox SL60W and something I may have missed. It's important for you guys to know that's a pro or a con. My name is Jason Morrison, guys. Don't know if one of my best videos is gonna be up before this or after this, but feel free to check out the other videos on my channel. I do a lot of lifestyle stuff, just kind of displaying my journey as a videographer, filmmaker. Just a lot of stuff is going on this channel, man, guys. It's really just about my life and my journey. So feel free to hit a like on this video if I provided some value, some insight into the Godox SL60W. Hit subscribe if you are into this type of content, and I'll see you guys in the next video, guys. Be easy.